Take off your shoes. Feel the floor. Now picture that under your feet every day. Gravel, ice, broken glass, thorns. For almost all of human history, that wasn't a thought experiment. That was just daily life. So why did we stop living like that? Why did humans start wearing shoes at all? Shoes rot. Leather disappears. There's no first shoe buried in the ground waiting to be found. But there is a place the answer survives, written into the bones of the people who wore them. Here's the clue. Your smaller toes, the four next to your big toe, grip the ground every time you walk barefoot. That grip builds thick, strong bone over a lifetime. Anthropologist Eric Trinkhaus studied ancient toe bones across Eurasia, and he found something strange. People living 100,000 to 40,000 years ago had thick toe bones, built for gripping bare ground, step after step. But around 30,000 years ago, that changed. Toe bones got thinner, weaker. Here's the strange part. Their leg bones didn't change at all. Legs still strong. Toes suddenly weak. Something had come between the foot and the ground. Something rigid enough to do the gripping for them. Trinkhaus tested it. He compared groups who always went barefoot, like early Native Americans, to groups famous for heavy footwear, like the Inuit. Same result every time. Thick toes, bare feet. Thin toes, covered feet. His conclusion? Humans were wearing real footwear at least 30,000 years ago. That's deep in the Ice Age, before farming, before writing, before almost anything we'd call civilization. We didn't find the shoe. We found what it did to the foot. If the bones are right, this wasn't one invention that spread. It was the same idea, discovered again and again by people who never met. In Oregon, people wove sandals from sagebrush bark, flat soles, a flap over the toes, good enough to survive 10,000 years under volcanic ash. In Armenia, a totally different climate, a totally different problem. Cold, not thorns, so a different solution. One piece of leather, cut to fit a single foot, laced tight, stuffed with grass for warmth. And it goes back even further than that. In Africa, archaeologists have found bone tools clearly used for softening and shaping hide, dating back over 60,000 years. Long before Oregon, long before Armenia, long before any shoe that's actually survived. People were already working leather. For one reason above all others, wrapping something around a foot. Different continents, different centuries, different materials. Same root cause, every time. Bare skin doesn't survive contact with the world for long. By 5,300 years ago, people were solving this problem with real skill. In the Alps, hikers found a body melting out of a glacier. They called him Ötzi, and his shoes were something else entirely. The sole, bearskin, chosen for grip. The upper, deerskin, soft, flexible. Inside, a net woven from tree bark, packed with loose hay for warmth. The leather itself had been treated with animal fat, then lightly smoked to keep it from rotting. 5 materials, multiple techniques, one shoe. This wasn't someone wrapping hide around a foot in a rush. This was engineering. And here's how we know it actually worked. Researchers built exact replicas. Same materials, same methods. Then, they hiked the actual Alps in them. The result? No blisters. Feet stayed dry, stayed warm, even at 10 degrees below zero. That's not luck. That's 5,000 years of trial and error, solving the exact same problem the first shoe wearer faced. The materials changed over time. The methods got sharper. But the reason never moved an inch. The ground never stopped being dangerous to bare skin. So people never stopped working to beat it. So why did humans start wearing shoes? Not fashion, not status. Those came later. The real reason is simpler and older. Your feet are the one part of your body that has to touch the world every day. No matter what that world is, sharp rock, frozen ground, broken thorns, burning sand. Everything else you can avoid. A cold wind you can turn away from. A sharp branch at head height you can duck. The ground you can't. You have to stand on it, whatever it is, every single day for your entire life. And that pressure showed up everywhere humans lived. Different climates, different materials on hand, different centuries, thousands of years apart. But the same decision, made over and over by people who never met, never spoke the same language, never saw each other's shoes. Wrap the foot. Protect the one part of the body that can't protect itself. That's not a coincidence. That's not one idea spreading around the world from one clever person. That's what happens when a problem is big enough and universal enough that everyone ends up solving it the same basic way. Because there are only so many ways to put something tough between skin and a hostile world. Somewhere, tens of thousands of years ago, someone wrapped a piece of hide around their foot, tied it off with a strip of sinew, stood up, took a step. The ground didn't hurt, and they kept walking. That single decision, protect the one part of you that can't avoid the world, is still shaping what's on your feet right now. Every pair of sneakers in your closet, every boot, every sandal, all of it traces back to the same basic problem, solved the same basic way, tens of thousands of years apart. But here's what's strange. Somewhere along the way, shoes stopped being just about survival. They became about who has money, who has power, who's allowed to be comfortable, and who isn't. So here's the real question. If the original reason we wore shoes was just to protect our feet, at what point did that stop being enough? When did a shoe stop being about survival and start being about everything else? Tell me where you think that line actually is. Was it Egypt? Rome? Somewhere more recent than that? Drop your answer below. I want to see if anyone agrees.